Morning to everyone, and thank you all for being here this morning for this very important event that happens every year in the society. This is the giving away of the M. Krishnan Memorial Award for Nature Writing, and this year's again we are compelled to have it online like the last 2 years due to the continued presence of the pandemic, and also because both the awardees Anurag and Arijit have very much from the north of the country and would have found it difficult to travel here. And there were a lot of even today there have been reports in the papers that in Tamil Nadu cases are increasing day by day. And so exposing them to that would have been fair. And so we decided again this year, although we would love to have, the last we had, I think was in 2019. It was a very wonderful meeting. It would have been great to have had it, had a physical meeting, but then, situations demand that we have it online. And so here we are, all of us gathered here this morning for this wonderful event. And thank you, Anurag, and thank you, Arijit, for taking off time and being here with us. I now request our President Sudhakar to deliver his opening remarks.
Good morning, everybody. A warm welcome to this wonderful event which we have been conducting from full onwards, I think. This is our way of remembering Mr. M. Krishnan's contribution, the conservation efforts of wildlife in India, and also his contribution, observation in writing and photographs. And he was a man of many parts. So we feel very happy that the Madras Natural Society has instituted an award for nature writing among the young people, because M. Krishnan's prose, as many of you may know, was outstanding, and he contributed a column in the Sunday Statesman for 46 continuous years. That was a fortnightly note on wildlife. Every week, he didn't even miss a week till his last column, which appeared posthumously. And now let me congratulate Anurag and Ajit. Very warm congratulations. You are joining a band of awardees, which actually Madras Natural Society is very proud to be the winners of this nature writing award. These people have actually have helped expand the vision of the Madras Natural Society. Our winners have been from all over the country, whereas before this Madras Natural Society had members all over the country, but not in a very big proportion. But now we have got friends in these kind of winners who are doing probably wildlife research, like they are forest officers, they are doctors. They come from very, very different professions. And this morning I saw that somebody has been quoted, one of our awardees has been quoted in the newspaper report, whom we met in Andaman, I think. Our members met in Andaman. So this is a very big factor which is helping the Madras Natural Society. I will take this brief. I just want to say a few words about Mr. M. Krishnan. Many of our senior members who have had the fortune to interact with him and meet him in person, and the MNS has been very fortunate in having him as a mentor from day one, because he was also associated with our society from the formation of the society, and he has been a very big force encouraging the activities of our members and giving it direction. Yeah, Krishnan, we are many people. I would like to just recount a certain anecdotes which might be of interest to people who are interested in M. Krishnan, apart from things which he has written, who have his photographs and other experiences. The photographs which, the observations and photographs of M. Krishnan was mostly done in forest, and it was done not from the jeeps or like these days safari. It was done from the backs of elephants. So M. Krishnan, being an elephant expert, he had a lot of rapport with the actual elephants in the forest department, and he knew all the elephants by name, and he had a particular rapport with the elephants, which were used to, which he used to take him into the jungle to take photographs and make observations. He was very careful about selecting elephants on which he will dive for this. Just like he was careful about selecting the words with which he expresses his feelings in his writings also. There was one elephant I remember called Tara in the Mudumalai camp. And he always used, because he demanded certain things from the elephants on which he chose to write. They should not be fidgety, they should be bold, they should not back up on seeing maybe a big cat, or they should not, they should stop when the Mahout orders to stop, and they should not fidget. Because you remember those films with which he was taking photographs were very slow those days, and he used to take, when he was using a longer lens, I remember he was using only, I think, AGA, so it's a longer shutter speed, and he demanded that the elephant does not fidget. So he chose his elephants very carefully. Coming back to Tara. Tara is an elephant of which he was very fond of, and whenever he came to Mudumalai, he used to ask, I believe, for Tara to go on, and on which he has had several outings. This Tara fell ill sometime during the 70s, I think. I don't remember the date. Then when it was conveyed to him, he made a special trip to Mudumalai just to see Tara, which was, or it's probably dead, but at that time. And he spent a lot of time with the just dying Tara, and then he became quite emotional about this. I have not seen him, but the people who were with him have told me that he became quite emotional, and the elephant also recognized him. So this was one aspect of M. Krishnan, the type of, what shall I say, the connection he had with the animals. So the next thing is that this M. Krishnan Nature Writing Award have been going on from 2012 onwards, I think. So in December of 2012, we had a M. Krishnan Centenary Celebration, which was attended by T.N.A. Perumal, who was a good friend of M. Krishnan. Of course, he is no more. Theodore Barker gave talk on this, and we had a photography exhibition, and a photography workshop by Mr. Sarvan Kumar, who is a well-known filmmaker at IIT, along with Dr. Susi Varghese, who is the founder of Prakriti Nature Club in IIT. So, and we had a very good friend in Mr. N.D. Murugappan, who was a very famous industrialist who used to be a very famous industrialist. He is no more, unfortunately. He gave us the seed money to, when I went and explained to him that we want to do this and we want to institute an award. He very generously donated a good amount of money for this. So he was there also. So this has been, what I'm trying to say is, this has been going on from 2012. And in the past 10 years, we have had several winners, many dozens of people who have participated. And this has all benefited the Madras Natural Society in expanding its not only its contact, also its knowledge about the wildlife of India. So I wish the Madras Natural Society will go from strength to strength in continuing this particular program. Probably we can think of starting one in a vernacular language also, maybe in Tamil, another competition for Tamil. That is what we probably our experts to decide. So I foresee a lovely future for this Nature Award winners, and I congratulate them. And with that, I invite Mr. Vijay Kumar to take over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sudhakar. Thank you. Thank you. That was interesting information as to how M. Krishnan used to, insist that all his outings into the forest had to happen on elephant back, and that he went. He had a whole of elephants who were his friends. So that was very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that information and anecdote. As you mentioned, it's a great privilege for the society to have started this award in memory of M. Krishnan. So to speak about the award, I now invite Tara Gandhi.
Yes, thank you, Vijay, and thank you, Sudhakar. So firstly, let me say I'm really happy to have the same name as the elephant who M. Krishnan was so fond of. Okay. And I have to also say that I had the privilege of meeting and knowing M. Krishnan, and he was as kind to me as he was to the elephant Tara. So it was, I was particularly privileged in that way. In fact, I didn't know about my namesake at that time, but this was, so this is an aspect of M. Krishnan which very few people actually knew, because people actually knew him as a rough and tough person who was sometimes very critical as well, So this aspect of his kindness to people and to animals is something new that, or rather something very interesting that Mr. Sudhakar has told us about. And how he was kind to me, M. Krishnan, I'll just go a little personal anecdote, is that I was struggling with writing something about birds and plants and all that. And I just talked to him. I said, and I asked him, can I just have a few minutes with you? And can I just, tap your knowledge a bit about interaction between birds and plants and that kind. So he said, come back tomorrow. So I go back tomorrow, the next day, and I find he's written 15 pages just for, in his handwriting. He had a beautiful handwriting. In his handwriting, it's a treasure that I treasure now, because it's almost wrote my book for me, So that was totally the way he was so helpful and so kind. And so that was that aspect of him. But we do know that he was also very critical of many policies that were being for wildlife, and he wrote very strongly. Apart from his wonderful articles that he wrote, which were for the lay public to understand more about wildlife, which was so detailed and so interesting and with humor, that it inspired people to learn more about nature. And so that is the aspect of M. Krishnan that MNS has instituted this award to encourage young people to follow in the footsteps of this great man who had such a vast knowledge of nature, but yet he could write in easy to understand, simple terms, at the same time with deep information, deep scientific knowledge about it to communicate. So that is what has inspired this award. And of course, many of them, of the articles that M. Krishnan wrote, were from his personal experience. And so we are also very happy if our those participants can give their personal experience. That's always nice to hear from young people what they have experienced about nature. So the other aspect of M. Krishnan was his photography, and he, as Mr. Sudhakar said, he had this old-fashioned camera, and he would take the most amazing pictures, which I would say even our digital cameras now may not be able to replicate those in the manner in which he used to process them himself. I mean, his home, which was in the middle of Chennai city, which is a busy, noisy city, was like a little bit of a village home. And it was not only his home, it was his lab also. So he had a dark room. And once he took me there also to show the dark room, and I was so impressed because he would actually develop his pictures himself. So that was another angle of Mr. M. Krishnan, who would do his work himself. He's also an artist. He would illustrate his own articles. He would also do wood carving. His house is full of his own wood carvings. So by and large, an amazing personality who could be an adventurous, at the same time, who could be a writer, and who could also be a painter and an artist, a man of many parts, as Mr. Sudhakar had said. So I hope that MNS's effort in bringing out this Nature Writers Award for young naturalists and for people from all walks of life. We're not only wanting naturalists to write. In fact, we've been so happy that people from different walks of life, doctors and engineers, and I mean, Vijay, you would tell me more the background of such people, teachers, have all contributed and have also received the award.
Last year, the winner was an English major student from
student. So that is what the hope is, that nature is not sort of confined to naturalists and wildlife people and bird watchers, but it is nature is for everybody, and nature is something that we all breathe and we all live. So it's really very heartening that that young people who are students, who are professionals, who are doing different interesting jobs, are writing in and contributing to and winning and getting the award of M. Krishnan. I think M. Krishnan would be proud of all of you, and I congratulate the award winner today and the special mention, both of you. Thank you very much for your contributions. I think it was really very a good read, enjoyable to read. And I have to say the other participants also gave in some very good entries. And it's always a challenge to, to see, but among them, the outstanding one always gets the award. And for that, and for that, I really congratulate you for having won the award, Anurag, and wish you all the best for your in your future work and whatever enterprise you.
Thank you so much.
And you too, Ajit, for having got the special mention. That is something that I hope that you will also treasure and value as we do. Thank you.
Certainly. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tara. Thank you.
Very happy to be here.
Thank you, Tara. So the next part is when we actually give away the award. So the award consists of a check for rupees 10,000, a citation, and a certificate. So the winner this year is Anurag Mishra. Anurag belongs to the 2020 batch of the Indian Forest Service in the Odisha cadre, and he is currently in charge of M. Rampur Range in Kalahandi North Division. He completed his integrated BSMS from IISER Pune and worked in NCBS and ETH Zurich for about a year each before deciding to switch from research to IFS. I'm sure he'll explain this why. His academic interests were mainly in herpetofauna, though over time he has picked up a little bit about other taxa. He's modest enough to say accepting plants, which has always been a challenge to a lot of people. Yeah. Outside of research for forest administration, he is passionate about photography, science communication, fine arts, and football. Very interested in storytelling through different media, writing, photography, art, and keeps experimenting with different gadgets and different media towards the same. And so, friends, this is a winner this year, Anurag Mishra. The citation reads as follows. M. Krishnan Memorial Award for Nature Writing 2022. Citation. Writer, naturalist, nature photographer, field biologist, M. Krishnan could make nature's bounty come alive through his writings. Keeping this bounty at heart, Mr. Anurag Mishra powerfully essays the imminent threat to the survival of tens of thousands of indigenous island dwellers by the impacts of development and climate change to the ocean that is their home. For poignantly chronicling life from the perspective of a Pacific island dweller from Tuvalu, born at a time when the developed world had made inroads into these Pacific islands and torn between his idyllic, rustic island life and the desire to keep pace with the changing world, Mr. Anurag Mishra deservedly wins the M. Krishnan Memorial Award for Nature Writing for the year 2022. Given this 7th day of August 2022, signed K.V. Sudhakar, President, G. Vijay Kumar, Secretary, Madras Naturalist Society, Chennai. This is the citation. This is the certificate for the winner. And this is the award prize, 10,000 rupees. Anurag Mishra, over to you.
Thank you, Vijay. Good morning to everyone. I'd begin by thanking the panel of judges who deemed my work worthy. It is a huge honor to win the M. Krishnan Memorial Award.
Your video is not on.
Sorry?
Your video is not on,
Okay.
Anurag. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. And I would like to thank the panel, the judges who did my work worthy of this award. It's a huge honor to win the M. Krishnan Memorial Award. Natural history writing has been something very close to my heart. And I think I understood the full extent of why natural history writing is important sometime in 2013 when I was in Tale Valley Wildlife Sanctuary in Arunachal Pradesh. And as a part of my undergrad research, I was doing expeditions in the Northeast for about 2 years by that time. But this was the first time we were doing a recce trip. So like in a recce trip, we just did not have the pressing need to collect data. And I could actually see the forest for what it was. I could go beyond just my study animals and look at how the communities use the forest, look at how the different biotic components come and interact with each other at different times of the day, across different seasons in the year. And that's when I realized that scientific writing, which was necessary and important, but at the same time, we are missing out on so much, focusing only on that. So after that, I made it a point to follow blogs of people who wrote about nature, just about like the beauty of nature, the things they observed. And sometime when I was in NCBS, I was going through Kadambari Devarajan's blog. She won the award sometime in 2013 or 14, I think.
Yeah.
And when I read through one of the articles, and it said in the footnote that this article was selected for, this article won the Krishnan Natural History Writing Award. That's when I thought I should give it a shot. And so I submitted my first entry for this award in 2015.
Yeah, I forgot to mention
And-
that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And after that, I mean, at that time I went, after that I went to Zurich for work, and then I came back. And like you said, around that time I made the switch from research and academia to IFS. And I made that switch, like you mentioned in the introduction, that I'd be addressing that. I wasn't planning on addressing that, but yeah, because you've mentioned, I'll try. So somewhere around that time, I felt there was a lot of funding crunch in research, and the stability was very little. There was so much uncertainty once you move from master's to PhD, from PhD to postdoc. And I also felt, having worked with forest departments while I was running from office to office for permits and all that as a researcher, I thought the forest department is the one which actually has a lot of power to make a change. Even if there are all sorts of criticisms about what they're not doing, they still hold the power to do things that can make meaningful change. And with that aspiration, and also hoping for a little bit more financial stability in terms of my job, I decided to prepare for the forest service. So yeah, sometime uh, during my training in the Indira Gandhi National Forest Academy in 2020, I was just sitting in the back of the class reading Janki Lennon's My Husband and Other Animals, and suddenly I remembered about the Krishnan Award again, and also made me realize that this is like age-wise my last shot at winning the award. So I decided that this year I have to write it. And when the theme came up, oceans and seas were a very alien thing for me, because even though I am from a coastal district, like almost all my field work was in mountain rainforests, and I had never like come close to the sea. But just like 2016, again, I really had a great time researching through things to finally craft this article. And I think that has been the best part of writing both the times for this award. The topics are so open-ended, and it gives me a lot of freedom to just express myself in whatever way I want. And in the course of writing these articles, I have learned a lot of things that I really did not expect when I started out. So once again, I would like to thank the judges for selecting my work to be worthy of the prize. And I have to thank all the people who have mentored me. I mean, they have been my bosses, but they have been fantastic mentors who have helped me along the way. And I have to thank their generous funding, which has helped me be in the places that has inspired me to take up writing, photography, art, whatever. And in the end, I have to thank my parents, because they did not always understand why I chose this career, but they have been along with me. They haven't ever discouraged me. I'm sure they would have been happier if I chose a more convenient doctor engineer kind of career, but they're still still okay with me, and that's more than I can ask for. So thank you everyone. And I would definitely want to continue writing more natural history in the coming years, and it's a lot more pertinent to my career now that I'm in the Indian Forest Service, and it would really it would really help to connect to the masses to natural history writing now. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anurag. That's very nice. I mean, you should continue to write and record, and I'm sure you will make a lot of difference to the way the Forest Department functions. And coming from research, coming from understanding a variety of ecosystems that are there, the kind of what is needed at this hour, like you rightly say, I think is to bring all these together and look at it holistically in order to see that things are nature continues to remain where it is supposed to be. Thank you so very much, Anurag. Thank you so very much for being here, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Most welcome. And the awardee for commendable entry, special mention, Arijit Goswami. Arijit works as Innovation Program Manager with Capgemini and has on-ground volunteering experience with World Economic Forum and UN volunteers in the area of quality education and climate action sustainable development goals. Arijit has worked as a UNESCO Fellow in the area of digital games for peace and has authored a background paper with UNESCO on impact of artificial intelligence on the education sector. He has been recognized by University of Pennsylvania for a solution for economic resilience for Africa in the face of COVID-19, a young ambassador with the Earth Project, an award-winning essayist, and a PeaceX Fellow. Arijit loves to blog about emerging technology trends and applications on his blog, thetomorrow.in, and on Digestives Incorporated on Instagram. Hearty congratulations, Arijit. And this is your certificate. Over to you, Arijit.
Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible.
Very audible.
Thank you so much. First of all, a very good morning to everyone. And it has been an absolute pleasure to have participated in this essay competition, plus an absolute honor to have been one of the, I would say, top two, and to have received the, I would say, commendation award. Before I say anything, I would also like to congratulate Mr. Anurag for being the winner of the competition. Many, many congratulations, Mr. Anurag. So when I actually first, I would say, in case I talk about the competition in particular, the first time when I saw this competition, I read about this competition, I still do not remember, because there are many sources through which I keep getting information about the running competitions in the country. And I have been participating in essay competitions earlier as well, have got published by Springer, have got published by World Economic Forum and a few other organizations. But the thing is that most of them, a large majority of them, have always been about academics, or all of them had been quite academically oriented. So the first time when I saw, when I read about the this competition, this as a competition, it actually gave me a very good avenue to not just talk about only the academics that I have been a part of, but also explore something that was outside, I would say, outside my domain of expertise or domain of profession. And again, when I first of all read about Mr. N. Krishnan, I was a little intrigued about who he was, because sometimes what happens is our schools do not do a very good job in introducing us to the pioneers in the area of naturalists and the pioneers in the area of, say, conservation. And when I first read about him on Wikipedia, that was my first, I would say, understanding of who Mr. M. Krishnan was. I got to know about his, I would say, profession, about his interest, about the things that he used to write about, the way he used to publish his articles in magazines. somewhere I found that, yes, this has been the case that I had been doing as well. So I would say when we usually look at pioneers, when we usually look at leaders who have been through that same journey, which we are also trying to tread, it actually connects on a very personal note. And then when I first read about the theme on oceans, now I being a person who lives in Chandigarh, very far away from the oceans, very far away from the coast, as an I perhaps did not have much of understanding of how the coastal life is, how the life near the oceans are like. But then I remembered my travel to Australia once when I was back in college, when I had gone there and had visited a place called Snow World. And that was the time when I was, I would say, really mesmerized and really taken by surprise regarding the diversity of wildlife that exists in the ocean. Now, that is something that perhaps people who live near the coast or near the oceans may be able to relate to very easily. But for a person like me who lives right at the foot of the Himalayas, it was a little, I would say, quite a pleasant surprise for me. And the stories of jellyfishes, I would say, the facts and the details about how jellyfishes live, how they are important to the society, how they are important to the civilization, to the, I would say, to the ecosystem that we are part of. And a lot of things about that species was something that actually intrigued me a lot. And when I first heard about this essay competition, I thought that there was a lot that I wanted to share with people regarding the new things that I learned. I realized that there would be a lot of people who would be just like me, who may not have a very good rendezvous with the ocean life. And I thought it would be a really good avenue for me to share my experience with them, to help the people have a sense of wonder regarding the ocean life and regarding conservation. And that was kind of the motivation that I had to participate in this essay competition. I will be very honest. I was not having any, I would say, particular expectations regarding the results, because it was kind of almost, I would say, kind of the first time I participated in a competition that was outside my domain of knowledge and exploring. And I think that actually helped me to explore further, because when we actually write from our domain of expertise, we have a, I would say, we have some boundaries in our mind that, okay, this is what I will write and this is I will something I will not write about. But when we explore things outside of our current knowledge base, we become all the more curious about things, about knowing more and more about what we were never exposed to. And I think that kind of curiosity, that I would say hunger for knowledge, and that pleasant surprise about being that part of being intrigued by the ocean life, I think all of that poured into the essay that I wrote. And again, I cannot thank you enough for judging it as one of the honorable mentions. Thank you so much for the honor. I hope to participate again this year, which will perhaps be my final time because of the age restrictions. But yes, uh, I hope to share my thoughts once again in this year's edition. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Aditya. Yes, be very nice to if you come back again. Absolutely. So, friends, would any of you want to ask our awardees any questions? You can either switch on your. There's a lot of in the chat box. I can read a lot of congratulatory messages. I think both, and to Anurag, more power to you and other like-minded people in the government to bring about the desired and sustainable changes. And yeah, plenty of congratulatory messages to both of you. So that's very nice. So if are there any specific questions that you would like to ask our awardees, then please feel free to do so.
May I?
Yeah, sure.
Ramji here.
Yeah.
There's no question here. I just wanted to add a small thing. When I was working on a book called Azhivan Vilimbil Yanaigal, this is many years ago. I don't know. I guess it was around 2002. It came out. I think the work started almost like 3-4 years before. and I had a chance to work with the director of the VOC Zoo in Coimbatore, and he pulled out one diary which he had been a part of as a student from Dr. Krishnamurti, and had listed down various quotes from the Sangam literature related to elephants. I presume Dr. Krishnamurti had kind of shared this to them as when he was a student. And I have used most of those quotes, almost all the Sangam literature quotes in our publication also. And this publication has been translated into almost all the languages in India where elephants are found.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
That's a very good thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, may I just ask both Anurag and Ajit, the both of you said that you don't belong anywhere near the sea, and but both of you are sort of interested to write about the ocean, and I find that just a comment, actually, not really a question, because if I ask this question, there's a lot you'll have to that can be said. But I thought I appreciate that. That's what I said. I appreciate the fact that even though you don't personally have a link with the ocean from a background, you took the trouble and you researched into it so deeply as to get excited by the thought of the ocean, and you wrote about it and won as well. Yeah. Just a word of congratulations.
Yeah.
I have a question for Anurag. Anurag, can you speak a bit more about the challenges you anticipate while working in the forest department, from what you already know and have heard, and perhaps how you'd plan to take on them?
Thanks, Evan. Yeah, so I think one of the first challenges is that you don't have a lot of like-minded people. And like whenever, like you say, like you bring in some sort of ecological perspective into things and people just want to get work done, then they're not always very, like, how do I put it, very keen on the ecological side of things. And I think a prime example of that is using the savanna ecosystems for reforestation. And I have thought long and hard about this, and like at which point of our training can things be improved, but unfortunately I still don't have an answer. But I think, yeah, that's going to be one of the biggest challenges for me right now, because you would always be like one of the very few people who will have actual training in this field, and you would be speaking to an audience who are mostly engineers, and they don't have a lot of ecological training. Again, things in the government move pretty slow, mostly. So even if you propose a change before that shows results in the field, that is going to take a long time. So it's like the typical bureaucratic inertia, or whatever you would like to call it. So yeah, I think that is going to be one major challenge. Is there any other question? Like, have I answered this?
Yeah.
To your satisfaction? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure we'll hear very good news about you, Anurag. I'm very sure. We will all we look forward to that. Yeah, I know. Yes, it's the fact that you have understood and what the challenges are itself. It's very nice, and placed it in the perspective in which it has to be placed. And so I'm sure meeting them will be a big challenge, but I'm sure you will. we look forward to that day when you would. Yeah, I'm very sure you would.
Thank you.
On the last point that Anurag spoke, I would like to add a thing. I always thought that I think the involvement of the local people will play a big role in the conservation of wildlife in India. I think the forest department probably, I don't know whether they are doing it, but I think if they take into account the local people's aspirations and kindle in them sense of pride for the protection of their own wildlife, they feel it like M. Krishnan was called the ecological patriot by Ramchandra Guha. So if you can make these people ecological patriots, I think we can, the forest department can achieve the conservation goals. I mean, just a comment. Thank you, Anurag.
I'm sure, yes.
Actually, sorry.
Yeah. Somebody started saying something?
Yeah, just to add to that, I was like, even like, this would probably be a part of the answer to what Evan asked. Like, we are mostly understaffed in the field, and much of our resources, both in terms of money and people, actually goes in enforcing the acts which are mostly negative in nature. That's basically the Indian Forest Act and the Wildlife Protection Act. We have a lot of enabling provisions in, let's say, the Biological Diversity Act, like the People's Biodiversity Registers and all that. But and these are things that can really help, like like Sudhakar mentioned, like getting people to be the guardians of their forest and their biodiversity. But many times we are just either short on money or short on people to get those in motion. So like the forest department's function becomes very negative at times, just protection instead of empowering and facilitating things that can help in conservation.
True.
Yeah.
True, I know. To get this biodiversity register under the biodiversity rules has always been a big challenge to actually record the local biodiversity, I don't think any of the what are called as biodiversity management councils, it's called BMCs or something like that, which are supposed to establish right across the country under the biodiversity rules. Well, but one should never stop trying. I think the thing in this is to constantly keep trying and moving forward and speaking to people, and somewhere I'm sure there will be, there will always be light at the end of the tunnel, as they say. Yeah. Yes. Are there any more questions to either Anurag or Arijit? If there are none, then I thank you all for having taken off time today to be with MNS in this very solemn occasion. I mean, this is one event that we all look forward to. We hear from young naturalists from across the country who have not only won, who have participated, and then there's so much that we learn. I mean, I'm sure we learned a lot today from both Anurag, from his perspective of being a researcher and now being on the field and seeing what could be done and how to apply research to actual situations. And Arijit, who comes from a completely different domain and whose interest got kindled to nature, and that's what nature does to you. And I think the way he expressed himself in the essay, which got him the special mention, is reflective of how the connect happens between us, the people who are part of nature, and nature itself in the larger context. So thank you all very much for being here with us with MNS this morning, and have a great Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.